Hey guys, wanted to make a video today about gathering. I had some feedback from my previous crafting videos, and some people are actually asking, like, hey, do you actually go out and gather a lot of your own materials? How do you go about doing it? What's the best way to do it? And I'll show you what I do. Particularly, not so much when it comes to gathering the mats to make the armor and the weapons and the accessories, because that's very simple. You just go out to the node and you gather your materials. Use your GP the way you need it, and gather what you need. But instead, what I'm going to talk to you today about is spirit bonding. Spirit bonding your gathering set, and also farming orange scrips at the same time. This is actually a two-in-one kind of video. We're going to do both at the same time. And last update, there were some changes to spirit bonding, which made it a little bit more difficult for the gatherers, because spirit bonding is now based on the level of the job that you're using and not the item level of the gear. So spirit bonding has slowed down quite a bit for the gatherers. It used to be where you could go out to an ephemeral node and you can get 30 to 40% spirit bond in one node, and it was ridiculously easy. Now you can still do that. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a moment. Some people think that it's been nerfed and gimped down to nothing, but there is a way to go about spirit bonding your gathering gear pretty quickly. And I'll show you how to do that. But at the same time, we're going to go out and we're going to gather orange scrips, which you could also use for purchasing materia, purchasing the high-end gathering materia. Or there's a new mount that's available with these envelopes, these row neck horn tokens. If you get 100 of these envelopes, which cost 1,000 orange scrips per envelope, you can get the mount, the Dawntrail mount, that Ronick, half bull, half ram, whatever kind of thing. So I'm working towards it. I've got 18 envelopes so far, just casually going about my way gathering. And you need 100 of these envelopes. So it's a little bit of a grind, but really not too bad. So this is a high-end gathering video. This is pretty detailed, so keep that in mind. This is a very high-end melded set here, and I did that for a reason, to kind of kill two birds with one stone, and I'll show you what I did here. So if we look at my gathering set, I'm on minor right now, and first thing we'll look at is you know what, hold on, let me turn on my item help. Sorry, I turn that off just to clean up my HUD sometimes. So if we look at my gear, you'll see that the spirit bond on all of the gear is at 1%. I went ahead and reduced it all down to 1% so I can show you with pretty good accuracy how the gear can be spirit bonded by following this particular rotation that I'm going to show you here in a minute. So all of the spirit bond is at 1%. Now, our stats. We'll go through the melds here in a minute, but I have 930 GP. And the reason I melded to 930 GP is because I want a 1,000 GP rotation. And the food that we're going to be using when we gather is the nasi goreng, which gives us 58 additional CP. So 930 plus 58 is 988, and since we get 6 GP back with every gathering attempt, after 2 gathering attempts at whatever node we're on, that's plus 12 GP. So 988 plus 12 is 1,000. So melding to 930 and using this food will allow us to use the 1,000 GP rotation. And it also has gathering plus 80. And that's important. If we look at our stats here, if we want to hit the gathering boon plus 30, which everyone knows ups your chance to get more items when you're gathering, you need a minimum of 4,907 perception. So I haven't used any food right now, and I melded to 4,909. You can see in my stats here. So we have just enough perception to be able to get that gathering boon plus 30 if we were going for maximum items. So I kind of melded my set to both maximize the items if I want to go out and get, 20, 30, 40, 50, or from a particular node, I've reached the perception cap that I need to. Or if I want to farm orange scripts, you need much less perception, but I melded to the high end, so depending on what I want to do, whether it's orange scripts or maximize my quantity, I have the melds to do that. So I melded to 4,909, and we need a minimum of 4,907 perception in order to get that gathering boon plus 30. Now the gathering rating, we need 4,985, particularly for the collectibles, for the orange scripts, because 4,985 will give us 23% to proc the meticulous action that saves you a gathering attempt, and it also increases the collector's intuition up to 34% with the gear that we have right now. So we know the collector's intuition caps at 40% from gear alone, from gear and food, and we just don't have the gear right now until the next set comes out. I think the next patch they're going to release probably the left side, I think it is, the gear itself, and then the patch after that will be the right side, or vice versa. I'm not sure. But next patch, we're going to get some new gear for one of the sides to where we could probably meet those minimums. But right now, our gathering, we need 4,985 gathering to get that 23% return rate on our meticulous and 34% on our collector's intuition. So we have 4,908 melded onto our gear, but don't forget, the food that we're going to be using is the Nazi Goreng, which gives us 80 gathering. So we need 4,985, and when we use the food, we'll have 4,988. So we're going to meet our gathering minimum requirement, and we've already met our perception minimum requirement. And with 930 GP melded to our gear, we're going to have enough GP to do our 1,000 GP rotation. So you can see this is a very high-end gathering set for the content that we're in right now. And I'll go over the melds for you real quick. The tools for miner and botanist are the same, so we'll just go through miner right now. And I'll show you these melds real quick. Feel free to pause if you wanna capture some of this info as we scroll through. So yeah, these are pretty expensive melds right now, particularly if your luck is not so great when trying to over meld like mine was. But it is doable. It just takes time. It takes a little bit of patience to get to these stats here. The rings are both the same. Yep. Here's the bracelet and the necklace and the earring and the offhand tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out and we're going to at the top of every hour, at the top of every 2 hours, excuse me, every even hour, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6, 8, and 10, there is an unspoiled node that spawns in the Dawntrail zones where you can get your collectibles for your orange scripts. Now, you're going to get roughly about 1.8, 1.9% spirit bond for every attempt that you do. So we're going to go out, and at the top of the hour, at the top of every even hour, we're going to go out and we're going to gather the collectibles for the orange scripts. However, there's also 3 legendary nodes within that 2-hour window that will also increase our spirit bond. There's a legendary node in Dawntrail, and then there's 2 legendary nodes in Endwalker, the prior expansion, that still gives us the same amount of spirit bond. So on every 2-hour window, we're going to actually gather on 4 different nodes. Now, the only downfall to that is it could get expensive because you're teleporting 4 times within that 2-hour window, and then you're repeating it the next 2-hour window and the next 2-hour window after that. And you know these teleports could get anywhere from 800, 900 to 1,000 gil per attempt. So if you do this for a couple of hours, you're looking at probably, geez, 100 grand worth of teleport fees. Anywhere from 75 to 100,000 gil in teleports. So if you have the Aetheryte tickets, that's great. It'll save you gil on that. Or if you just do daily quests, if you do roulettes and stuff like that, there are ways to, recuperate some of that gil that you spend. It's not very hard to recuperate some of those teleport fees, just doing your daily grinds and stuff like that. So we have 4 a.m. Eorzea time is coming up here, and we're going to start at the top of every hour. We want to gather the collectible because that's what we're going to be using our GP on. We're going to be using our GP to maximize the amount of collectibles that we get, and then we're going to use a high cordial. And while we gather the other 3 nodes, the legendary nodes for spirit bond, we're not going to use any GP. All we're after right there is just the spirit bond on our gear. So at the top of the hour, we're going to get the collectible. Then we're going to go gather the legendary nodes for spirit bond. And while we're doing that, our GP will slowly replenish over time. So it'll be back to full by the time we're ready to collect our next collectible at the top of the next 2-hour window. So let's go ahead and, one other thing I wanted to show you. We're going to head out here in just a moment to get the 4 a.m. collectible. But there's an option here. If you look at your favorites on the teleport section, a lot of people don't use this. But if you mark your teleports as a favorite location, then you won't have to scroll through your entire teleport menu to look where you want to go next. You just go over here to your favorites, to your pinned locations, and you'll have them all listed here. So you can just go to this one menu and teleport wherever you want to go. Now, Spirit Bond caps at +5 for gatherers. So I have a Spirit Bond potion which gives us +6. So we're just going to use 1 potion. We don't need any more than that since it caps at +5. And we're going to use the Nazi Goreng to maximize our gathering is up over the 4985 that we need. And our GP is at 988. So let's go ahead to the 4 a.m. window, which is at the outskirts. And this is a minor node, which we're on right now. So remember, we started off at 1%, right? So let's go ahead and head over here. Now between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., we're going to gather 4 nodes. So this is a gathering rotation where you have to want to play, because these minutes go by pretty quickly. So if you want to just be casual and go get coffee or something to eat in between this, you're going to miss out on a node, and you're not going to maximize your potential here. So this is kind of a rotation, a route that you want to take when you're looking to play and you're looking to maximize for an hour or so. So we'll get to the node here, and we want to get the rarefied Ricasner ore. And we'll start with a scrutiny and a meticulous. Alright, didn't get any bonuses there. Another scrutiny and a meticulous. Alright, we got a little bonus there, which is good. So now all we need is one more meticulous to get to 100%. And now we have 3 gathering attempts and 600 GP. So we can use our abilities to get more gathering attempts. And we're up to 6. So we have 1,000 collectability. And we can gather 6 collectibles. The minimum, with this rotation, the minimum collectibles you can get is 5. And the maximum you can get is 12. Anywhere in between there. So we were on the low end on this one right now, but that's okay. We'll use a high cordial. And now we're going to switch to botany. And we're going to go to lay node pyro. And you can see how easy it is on that favorites teleport. You don't have to scroll through all different kinds of menus. We're going to go over here. And while our GP replenishes, we're going to go over here to this legendary node for botany. And we're going to keep spirit bonding our gear. And we got +8. That's good. And we get roughly 2% per attempt. Roughly. A little bit less. Like 1.9%. 1.8. 1.9. So at 8 attempts, that's about 15 to 16% spirit bond. Excellent. Now we're going to go back to the Endwalker zones. And we're going to go to Riatara. We're going to switch back to minor, and there's a legendary node here for minor. And this is all a particular, you know, I figured out this actual route to take, and I can post this separately for you guys to see the routes that I take in order to hit these 4 nodes in each of these 2-hour windows. So like I said, right now all we're working on is spirit bonding. We're not using any of our GP. We're going to gather this soft silver ore right here. We got 8 attempts here. That's good. And our GP is slowly building back up to max for the top of the next hour. Excellent. Now we have to go back to botany. And we need to go to the Archaeon, which is right here. And it's 5:30, so we got plenty of time before our next collectible comes up at 6 a.m. And that node is right here. So these are both the same. I guess I will get the bark here. They both look about the same. Excellent. So now at 6 o'clock we got to go to Sheolani for our next collectible, and our GP is coming up just almost to maximum again. Now, if we look at our spirit bond, look at that. Our gear is all over 50% spirit bonded on just those 4 nodes. Now, obviously, our tools are a little bit less because half the nodes we worked on mining and half of them were botanists. So the tools are going to slow down a little bit, but the gear is all spirit bonded. We went from 1 to 52% in 4 nodes. Now, you just repeat the process. Our next node is in Sheolani at this, I don't know how to pronounce that. Starts with an H. And it's 6 a.m. and our GP is capped. And we're ready for our next collectible. So with these melds and this setup and the proper food, the nasi goreng and the spirit bond potion, you can certainly spirit bond your gear very quickly. You can see that didn't take any time at all to get from 1 to 52, 53%. And you're getting collectibles to turn in for orange scripts at the same time. So here, of course, we go with the level 100 1-star. And we got 8 attempts on this one. We got the, and you see that max GP is greater than or equal of 930, which is why we melded to 930. So we got the gathering attempts +2, which is great. So we'll try this one. We'll see what our luck is gathering these collectibles. Scrutiny, meticulous. Excellent. We're still at 8 attempts and we're at 500. That's awesome. Scrutiny, meticulous. We didn't cap it, but hey, we're still at 8 attempts at 900. So just one more meticulous. So we have 7 attempts. So we'll start to gather 7. We'll use that for 8, and we'll use Wise to the World. That's 9. We'll gather a couple more times. We'll use it again. That's 10. And Wise to the World again. That's 11. So we just got 11 collectibles from this one node. So it'll take a little bit of work to meld your gear. It'll take a little bit of work to get to this point, but as you can see, it certainly pays off. We just got 11 collectibles from this one node. And if revisit procs, let's see, revisit? Ah, no revisit. But hey, we just got 11 collectibles at what? 38 scripts each is over 400 scripts from that one node. 38 times 11 is, yeah, it's over 400. So we'll take a break for now. I won't drag on the video much longer, but I'll go show you in Yulmore. I like to go to Yulmore because the collectible appraiser is literally right there. So Yulmore is usually my go-to place. And you can see we're at 266 orange scripts. And we'll just turn in what we got. So we went from 266 to 912 in just a few minutes. So yeah, this is again a high-end gathering rotation, and my spirit bond on my gear is already up to 74%. We went from 1 to 74% in what, 5 nodes, and then you can just extract that materia and keep going once you get to 100%. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you would like to see the actual rotation that I use from every 2-hour window within the game, from 12 to 2 and from 2 to 4, 4 to 6, so on and so forth, I can post that rotation. I have it on a spreadsheet that I use to be able to track where I need to go, so I don't have to memorize every single one. But yeah, hitting up 4 nodes in every 2-hour window with the collectible node at the top of every 2-hour window, so you have time to replenish your GP until the time comes where you have to use it again for the next 2-hour window. So you always start with the collectible at the top of the hour. Burn all your GP, get as many collectibles as you can, use a cordial, and then as you're gathering more spirit bond, you let your GP gather up over time. So when the top of the hour comes, the next 2-hour window, your GP's back to full. Hope you guys found that video useful. And yeah, good luck gathering, guys. Have a great day.